On this episode of the OG and Crab Show, we dissect Noah Heil's final article on the Bucko Beat, and there might be more than meets the eye in that press conference. Play me a song, Crab. Welcome back to the OG and Crab Show. I'm OG, and sliding in next to me is my partner, Crab. How's it going, Crab?
Hi. Good. It's good. The Pirates are over, and today I felt nostalgic for hate watching baseball.
You miss it already?
I kind of do, yeah. Because usually it'd be like around 5:30. I'm like, cool. I'm gonna hate the Pirates tonight. I'm gonna crack open a beer and sit here and chat with my friends about how terrible this team is, and then I realized there's no Pirates and there's no sports to watch, and I was just like, sad face, me.
Last time we talked about that press conference with Travis Williams and Ben Cherington, who were very adamant about the sufficiency of their resources.
Their most excellent resources.
Oh, yes. They're going to get more excellent. And they were also very repetitive in their answers to the press corps, very disciplined in their answers, always being the same, just saying the same thing over and over again. And that got me thinking.
Period, full stop, question mark, period, full stop.
Oh,
I'm Ron Burgundy.
As an aside, that is clearly already a meme all over the Pirates internet, the whole period, full stop thing. I'm already tired of it.
I mean, we made fun of it. I did my spiel about him sounding like George Bush. I watched it again. I thought, well, maybe I was like really unfair to these folks. Like, you know, if we're going to be stuck with them for another year, maybe I should like try to like watch it with like a bit of a open mind. And the two of them are just still so arrogant and smug that, you know, he was just, I can't believe that he's the head of the business side of the team. I mean, the marketing people would report to him, and he has no idea how to stand in front of 22-year-old beat writers and, you know, hold his own. He was just so overwhelmed. Travis Williams was. It was just pathetic to see. He was really bad.
I went back and listened to it again, because as I mentioned on the other show, that I was seeing and hearing that stuff for the first time. So I was kind of reacting to it raw. And when I went back and listened again, some new thoughts crept into my mind, some new ideas. One of them.
Are these like toilet thoughts or shower thoughts when you're...
Oh, very much. Yeah. These were commuting home and listening to our show to see if we're any good thoughts.
I usually have these thoughts when I'm taking a crap. Just, you know, I don't hold anything back.
It's the same thing. Well, you know, you're by yourself. Yeah, it's a meditative state, and shower thoughts, toilet thoughts, commute thoughts. It's all the same thing, all of a kind. And
staring into the void in the darkness thoughts.
Yeah, your brain can wander a little bit, and mine wandered to the way that Ben Cherington was answering these questions. And we've heard him do this again and again, and it sort of crystallized an idea for me. And it's that you can tell when somebody doesn't know what they're doing when they're asked what their plan is, and they answer back with a bunch of statements or questions about what it is they're supposed to have a plan for, but they don't actually have the plan. And so Cherington...
Explain more to me.
Cherington was listing off all of the things that the royal you, we, them, the things that they would need to do, in theory, to make this team competitive next year. And so when he's asked, how will you make this team competitive next year? His answer is, well, you have to develop. You have to get better internal. Like, I'm not quoting him directly because I'm not remembering the exact gish.
Improve the offense. Wake up every day and get better.
but the way that he presents what his plan is, it's not a plan. It's just a list of the things that somebody with a plan would accomplish if they had a plan that worked. And so whenever you hear somebody just listing off a bunch of things, and politicians do this, like if somebody's just up there listing off a bunch of problems that they need to solve as if that's the answer to the problems, they don't know what they're doing and they don't have a plan.
I was a politician one time, and I can attest, even a local one, and that is exactly what we do. It was just, I just like repeat a bunch of things that sounded really cool to people, and they'd be like, "Yeah, do the thing," and I'd be like,
"Sounds like an answer." If you're not prepared for it, you hear somebody listing off all of the things that need to get done. It's like, oh, they understand the problem. That's good. Except, how are you going to fix it? So,
oh yeah, we didn't do all those things. Some of them we didn't. They still haven't done. Well, but yeah, I think I get that. So it's like so what you're saying then, if I understand, it's like the equivalent of saying, we're gonna get muscular, and so like we have to get protein powder and lift weights every day, instead of actually doing the work and becoming muscular and ripped or whatever. Like, you're just stating a bunch of things, like whether or not we do them, it doesn't matter. It's like, now that you mention this, it reminds me, tell me if I have the same thought here. When you meet somebody at a dinner party and you're like, "Hey, Bill, how are you doing?" He's like, "Oh, I'm losing weight." Bill's like 300 pounds. He's like, "I'm losing weight. We're working out and we're eating right." And it's like a mental defense mechanism that people do, like, because if they project it out enough, that maybe that it will come back on them somehow. Is that like the same thought you're having? Is that what you're describing? It's like, Bill didn't do any of the work.
Like, it may be like an earnest, like they're not, it's not like they don't know that they don't have a plan, but the best thing that they could, like, they've been asked a question, they got to say something. So they're going to say, "Well, in the absence of a plan, let me just list out all of the things that the plan might address. And maybe eventually a plan will present itself after I do that."
Right. And then maybe I'll be able to execute on said plan if I feel good about what's just presented through my verbal diarrhea.
Either that, or they just don't want to answer in an honest way, and this is a method of obfuscation, where instead of saying, "Well, you know what, we don't have any money for payroll, and if we look at the trade market, everybody wants to hold on to their good players, and we're really in a tight bind here. We painted ourselves into a real corner, but we just convinced our boss to keep us on for another year, and we don't want to say that out loud."
How much of column A do you think it is, and column B do you think it is?
I think it's much more of column B. I think it's more of the deflection than it is just the, I have no idea what I don't even know, and I'm going to make it up as I go. Because I think they probably do have a better idea of what a fix they're in than they let on. But if they let on, especially in public, then they're kind of, the jig is up. They've exposed that they should actually have been fired, which is the other thing that came to mind as I was listening back to this and thinking again about that damn smirk on Travis Williams' face as he was answering questions. He had a much harder time presenting himself as an earnest worker. He was much more the cat that caught the canary. And
well, Charrington was in Boston at one point, facing greater media scrutiny than he is here, and with bigger stakes. So he's at least had a rodeo. Williams came from I think he worked for the Islanders, the Penguins, and so it's a much I think he had a different road and a lot less front facing role in those jobs than here, where he's like ostensibly Charrington's boss. And I think that as we talked about last episode, it was just like, well, shit, I'm supposed to be your boss. Like, what am I going to do out here? We have to answer these people, and I worry about bar stools and hot dogs for a living.
Right. And so I think what happened, and the reason that he was acting that way, and we touched on this a little bit, but like it really gelled after I went back and revisited it. I think the two of them, maybe together, maybe separately, they got called onto the carpet and they had to go meet with Bob maybe that morning, because this was the day after the season ended. And so they went and had their debrief with the chairman. And maybe they planned it ahead of time, maybe not, I don't know. But I think they went in and heard whatever Bob had to tell them. And they've been working under Bob long enough that they probably have a pretty good grasp of how he operates, how he thinks, and what his expectations are, and how to dance between those raindrops. And they clearly convinced him to keep them both on. And I think the things that they kept repeating in that press conference as answers were the things that they had to say to Bob to convince him to give them one more year. And they had to come out and make sure that they pounded those points home into the press microphones so that Bob would hear them. So they weren't talking to us, the fans. They were talking to Bob through the press in this event.
But they just talked to Bob.
Right. But this was them reinforcing for Bob all of the things that we told you in there. They're true. Now we're saying them in public. Now they're on the record. And especially important was that they have the resources they need. That was the one thing that they were just very flatly direct and consistent about, was that, oh, no, Mr. Nutting gives us everything that we need. We don't need anything else. We're sufficient. We're totally fine. We're totally fine. Don't ask. We're not talking about that. We're sufficient. We're fine. We're doing great. We have everything that we need. We're good.
Was that to prevent Bob from being like, hey, do you need more performance analysts?
No, so, I think that was to just, well, for one thing, I think it was to kind of comfort Bob and make him feel like the thing that he's probably insecure about is totally not a problem. No. You're giving us everything we need. You're giving us everything we need. If that's what you need to hear to keep us in this job, you're giving us everything we need. And it was important for them to reinforce that when they were speaking to the press. So that when he hears it, he's like, yes, I am giving them enough. Yes. And and then we go hear him when he's leaking to DK, Pittsburgh Sports or whatever. Like that's the message that leaks out, is that even when he speaks publicly, I've given them everything that they need. And he's saying that because that's what they tell him. You've given us everything that we need. They know that they could probably use more and get more done with more, but they also know what's actually there, and they need him to feel like he's doing a good job so that he will let them stay. That's my thinking.
Interesting. I think that you might be right. I guess the one thing about this thesis statement is that presumes that Bob has the ability to feel insecurity, and I'm not sure that he does. I'm not sure that he cares. I mean, I think I'm done reading between the Bob tea leaves, right? Like, we had
it's very Kremlinology what I'm doing here. Like I'm projecting a lot on the wall.
Right. This is like a John le Carré novel, and we're figuring out. Yeah.
Ink
but
blots.
Yeah. But like I we've seen this team be successful under Bob's leadership, quote unquote successful. We've seen it be what it is today under Bob's leadership. I think this is probably where the high tide really is, like the ebb. Like this is like the high water mark, I guess I should say. Like I don't expect Huntingtons to come in here and have 3-year cycles where we're, winning 95 games. But I don't think Bob can feel much insecurity, honestly. I think he's just a guy who just cares about the business at this point. Winning is definitely secondary or tertiary for him.
Well, yeah, it could be that I'm just inventing a bunch of reasons for there to be uh, something more than what's going on. Maybe a cigar is
Well,
just a
no,
cigar.
it's not that. It's just I think you are correct. I think there's probably, the truth is probably somewhere in the middle. I mean, I don't think Bob. I think insofar that Bob, like, as long as at the end of the day that the asset is growing and everything is secure, then those other things come to the forefront, right? So in that particular moment, everything that's not about the business has to come to the forefront. So there's probably some insecurity about the losing stuff for sure. And I wouldn't be surprised if, I mean, we've both been in positions, I'm sure, in our adult lives where we were on the other side of this, where we were the Charrington, or maybe we were the nutting in some of these cases where we've experienced both of them, where, you do say whatever it is you need to say to your boss to get them to feel, sometimes it really is that drastic. And then you go back into the office and you repeat it to the managers and your coworkers. Yeah, everything is great. We're doing great. I'm great. He's great. I'm so thankful to be here. And then you go in the bathroom and cry. So, I mean, it's quite possible that's what Ben does every day down there. And he just tells Bob what he needs to hear. And then his version of going off in the bathroom and crying is just hiring more performance analysts.
So Noah Hiles published an article in the Post-Gazette the morning that all of this went down. So this came out before this press conference that we spent so much time picking apart. And the title of the article is "The 2025 Pirates Never Had a Chance and the Players Knew It." And the gist of it is that from the very first series in Miami, where they lost 3 walk-off games to start the season and basically never recovered, it goes and just details all of the various ways that the season basically ended before it began, or as it began.
What's depressing about that, OG, is that we watched this entire season. And we created this podcast to vent our frustration about the fact that nothing changed in the off season, and that this particular season was almost completely wasted within the first week of it beginning. Mm-hmm. And we said as much. And I still like empathizing with the players. How demoralizing is it to go to work every day on a spotlight as bright as Major League Baseball and just flail incompetently and ineptly as they did in front of everybody, knowing what knowing what they know, knowing what we the fans knew it, they knew it, the media knows it, everybody knew it.
The article begins detailing the early period under Derek Shelton that led to his dismissal, and that all makes sense. I mean, the team had its worst portion of the season under him. They were 12-26 when he was
12-24,
something like that.
24.
It was pretty bad. And so he was dismissed in the middle of May. And the article goes on then to a section headed "A Bad Organization." And it goes on to detail some anonymous quotes from players who went on background for the article. They're not named. And I wanted to read these off and discuss. One of these quotes that really stood out: "People think we're underachieving," one player told the Post-Gazette in early May. "Look around here. We're playing to our potential. This is what $90 million gets you. Some of the teams we play aren't even trying to win. They're rebuilding, but still have a higher payroll than us," the same player noted later on. "What do you think that tells us?"
I don't. I mean, I have a lot of thoughts about that. I'm not sure how to start. So why don't you take that
continue.
first?
We'll continue though. We'll come back to that. There was a couple other quotes in this section that stood out to me. Some believe Bubba Chandler and Braxton Ashcraft weren't given an honest chance to make the major league roster out of camp. Another player contended that Thomas Harrington's season was thrown out of rhythm due to the team's desire to get him back in the minor leagues after a pair of appearances in early April. Those decisions, some players believed, were made with the franchise's bottom line in mind. And then finally,
let's go. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Finally, we laugh at all of this shit behind closed doors, one player said. It's just a bad organization.
All right, I want to do the Harrington stuff because that part I think is what's. When I hear that quote, my mind immediately flashes over to around May 9th when they fired Shelton, when Cherington went into crisis mode and declared confidently that, we are getting better in 2025 and we're waking up every day urgently, and all the stupid bullshit that he said. And to me, he says these things like, we're going to try to get better in 2025. We're working urgently. And the players see something completely different behind closed doors. Now, who do you believe? Do you believe Ben Cherington and the Pirates state apparatus, or do you believe the players? I believe the players. And I think that these types of comments to the media are, it's moot at this point, but obviously they were not working with urgency. Yeah, you're not going to materialize base like hitters, like bats out of thin air. I get it. So Ben Cherington is limited to G1 Bay and Nick Solak and a bunch of crap to call up. The players know these guys aren't coming to save the year, but a player like Harrington, Chandler, Ashcraft, yeah, I mean, if I'm a Pittsburgh Pirate and my season is gone within a month and we have 5 more months of this to go, I want to see what the fans want, what we screamed about. Just play the kids, bring them up here and let's get the ball rolling. I mean, to me, that quote falls directly in line with some of that mentality where it's like, hey guys, let's quit fucking around. If you want to win in 2025 and 2026 and beyond, then get these guys up here and let's get going with this. This is ostensibly supposed to be the culmination of a rebuild. They know that. Players know that too. Hell, McCutcheon's talked about that numerous times. He thought he was coming to crest the wave of a rebuild. Mm-hmm. So how frustrating must it be for him to see them playing, a game of chicken with all of these guys, sending them back and forth to the minor leagues? It's stupid. And, is it asset management that they teach out of the Theo Epstein, Billy Bean School of Moneyball? Yes. Does it mean that it always needs to be followed as it is the gospel? No, it doesn't.
It definitely exposes a certain amount of morale currency where even if you don't have the payroll that nearly every other team in the league is spending, what you do have is some human capital that you're not fully bringing to bear. And I think you can, especially with Bubba Chandler, you can definitely make the case that through most of the middle of the season, he was, at least statistically, not proving that he needed to come out of AAA and get called up. Now, that may not matter. It may be that the guys in that clubhouse, they would rather see the symbolic call up of our best prospect just as a gesture of goodwill, of good faith, to say, we want you to be the best you can be. And so even though we can squeeze more service time or have him maintain his rookie eligibility, which they did. They waited until August 15th, which makes him a rookie next year as well and eligible for all of those bonuses and benefits that you get with a rookie, which, I mean, they missed out on all of that with Skeens. And in all likelihood, they won't realize any of it with Bubba. It's just the odds are against that. but that's the argument in favor of keeping him there. But the guys in the clubhouse clearly felt like, if you're not going to give us anything else, can we at least have all of our best players on the active roster to see what we can get out of that?
I think you're correct.
They didn't get that.
I think you're dead on. I think that's exactly right. It's a human capital issue. And if you're not going to go out and sign Juan Soto, or some other, $700 million free agent, then call up your best guys and show us that you give a shit. Yeah, I think you're dead on.
Yeah, and would it have mattered? I mean, it wouldn't have saved the season. It's not like they were short on pitching.
But it might be one of these things where guys that are demoralized are less demoralized. Yeah. Cruz might be less, of an idiot out there. Brian Reynolds might just try a little. I'm not trying to suggest he's not trying hard, because I don't believe he's not trying hard, but I think there's just demoralization. People are demoralized in every aspect of their adult lives sometimes, and it manifests in your hobbies, and your work, and your personal life, and your relationships. And for a baseball player, it's 162 games of going out on the field doing the same thing, and it manifests.
Yeah, it's the idea that winning is contagious, and I think there's something to that. It definitely, you can't will yourself into having the kind of morale that actual success will bring out of somebody. It
makes me wonder about like the teams like the Rays. I know the Rays didn't win this year, and I don't know what they're doing. I don't follow them close enough, but I do check in on a Rays game on MLB TV every once in a while and see there's no Tommy Phams in those lineups. They're playing their younger guys, and those teams are kind of gelling. Their windows are always they always do a thing with windows down there, and this kind of comment to me, it's the Pirates never seem to do these things, and maybe the players are basically saying hey, if we're not going to go buy free agents, at least I guess I'm repeating myself, but give us your best shot. It's a lot the Rays don't even do any of that junk. They play all their young guys. They might dick around with service time. I think everybody does. I think that's built into the system, and the players get it. It's a business. The players understand the business aspect. That's a different bucket.
Right.
But I think that if you're going to be a small market team, the Pirates don't seem to be able to lean into the small market stuff. So they lean into the bad parts of it, not the good parts.
Well, and that's the undercurrent that I sensed in reading these other quotes talking about the $90 million payroll. What does that get you? What do you think that tells us? That is clearly, I think, a veteran player, probably somebody who came from the outside, either as a trade acquisition or free agent. That's probably not Mitch Keller saying that. That's probably one of the outside acquisitions. We don't know who. This was anonymous.
I mean, do the Guardians say this? Do the Rays say this?
Well, that's the thing, is that the Pirates...
Why do the Pirates think they're the Yankees instead? They need to oh my God. Maybe that's what Cherington was talking about when he said we need to change the clubhouse culture. Holy shit, I'm having an epiphany right now. He did that whole spiel about the clubhouse culture, and I thought, what a dumb thing to say. That doesn't make it. What does that mean? But now it may be accurate, change your mindset from thinking you're the Red Sox to you're actually the Athletics, guys. Maybe there's some of that down there that they need to get through their thick skulls.
Well, the thing that concerns me about this is exposing a sort of this is stuff that fans say. This is the players sort of soaking in and buying into the narrative that the Pirates definitely make no efforts to escape. That is, they make decisions, even little ones, based on money first and whatever else after. And so they don't get the benefit of the doubt that the Guardians get. When the Guardians have $105 or $110 million payroll, whatever it is that they manage to get themselves a division title this year, despite all odds, they don't have this way higher payroll than the Pirates do. It's marginally higher, but they get the benefit of the doubt because they consistently do well with it. They
was
find
$100
ways to
million.
get more out of it.
It was 100 million, not to cut you off, but 100 million.
Yeah, so it's even less than I was thinking. And so with the Pirates, the players are seeing all of these decisions get made. They're seeing all of this stuff, and they're just like us, not willing to give the benefit of the doubt because it hasn't been earned. The benefit of the doubt has been earned in Tampa, in Cleveland, in Milwaukee, because they find ways to win. And sometimes while they're doing that, they'll buttress that with whatever they can financially. And the Pirates don't do that.
And you know what you're describing?
Loser energy.
It's like the meme. Say the words, Bart. you inadvertently just
I've discovered loser energy. Crab,
Yeah,
let me tell you about this new idea I've had. It's called loser energy. It's where people don't understand why everything's bad, and so they feel bad about it. It's called loser energy. Have you heard of it?
I have. I was a fan of the Pirates from my whole life. I've seen lots of loser teams that can't. What you just described. Hey, they're just like us. It's seeping in. They can't undo it. They don't know how to turn it off. That's loser energy. It's like all those times in the McClatchy era Pirates, and Brian Giles yelled at Jack Wilson, "Welcome to hell." It was a very famous reported. They all deny it. You're right, but but like, this is the modern day version of that in a lot of ways, and then those days it was loser energy, and so Jack Wilson comes all bright eyed and bushy tailed to his first big league job, ready to hit as best as he can and do his best job, and some guy tells him, "Hey, kid, nothing fucking matters here. Fuck you." Well, that's a kick in the nuts, and that put I want to try less. I don't give a shit about that close call. That close ball on the outside of the plate I didn't offer at. Fuck it. I'm getting paid. It's loser energy. That's what that is. And this group has it in spades. And
they've just doubled down on it. When Bob Nutting decided to keep the leadership that generated all of that loser energy through their decision making and their mistakes and the actions that they took that were seen by these players in the clubhouse, and developed these opinions that are in this article, they're just amplifying the loser energy for next year. Like it's almost like next year is already cooked because
it's already here. We're in next year.
So
this is 2020. It's the same
guys making the decisions.
We were having the same discussion last year, except it was on the phone and not a podcast. We were sitting and talking like, like, "Hey, Quagmire," like, "Hey, Peter, how you doing? What you thinking about?" And we did that. And we talked about the same thing. And like, fast forward, it's already October of 2025. Nothing changed. We're going to be in October 2026 in our DeLoreans as fast as possible as well. And nothing is going to change then. For all the reasons that we were describing. And I want to pick on one point that you mentioned earlier. The players are just like you for real. You said basically.
Yeah.
Can you blame them? Because this is the most interconnected players and fans have ever been in the history of humanity, really. I mean, they didn't have this kind of stuff in the 1950s or 60s or 70s or, So, I'm sure the players talk to people, have Instagram. I mean, we already know this. I don't have to tell the listeners of this show or that players interact with fans in a way that, nobody could ever imagine. So I'm sure the players are seeping in the same stuff the fans are. And I don't blame them for picking it up. What's strange about this is I'm going to actually defend. Can I play devil's advocate for Cherington? I love
devil's advocate.
Because I can't, this is in my nature. I always
do it all the time. Go nuts.
Okay. So if you're Bob Nutting, we're taking the business clown show stuff out. Let's just take it out. Let's dump it in a different bucket. Let's not focus on that right now. The payroll is the payroll for whatever it is. The reasons are like, I don't know. We'll just assume that there's a reason for it. So if you have all of the constraints, why blow this up though? Like, pitching is one of the hardest things for small market teams to acquire. Dave Littlefield wishes he had this pitching because he knew how to find a hitter. Neil Huntington couldn't, yeah, he had some good pitchers, but like not like this, not like a crop of stuff. There was some pieces of it. I'm not trying to like do the talking points or anything, but like if I'm Bob Nutting, I think to myself, well, I mean, we're 7 years in. At some level, there is some sunk cost fallacy. It's like, well, we're 7 years. Like, who cares? What about it? Well, 6 and 7. What's the difference of the number? It's 1. Big deal. Fuck it. Let's just keep going. Because the next guy that wants to come in here is going to blow it up. It's going to blow it up. They're going to want to look at all the baseball ops guys, all of the scouts, all of like the people in these different, research and development roles and whatnot. And they're going to want to change them and touch them. And that is like driving a big ship. And I've driven a big boat before in my life. And I can tell you, when you turn the wheel of a boat, nothing happens. Nothing. And you think to yourself, holy shit, I got to turn it some more. Fuck it. I'm turning it all. And all of a sudden you're going like this. And then you just go like that. And that same mentality that like, oh shit, overcompensate time. And nothing happens. You're going towards land. So I can see why, like, that's what the next guy would do. Now, I'm not arguing that this course is the correct course. I'm saying it is a course that they're on. The next guy's going to turn the wheel and they're going to go in a different direction. And, I'm not sure they want to stomach that. I can't say I actually blame them. So, the players have to, like, just figure out that they're in Pittsburgh. It's a small market. I'm not saying they need to turn it on and turn on winning energy and turn off losing energy next year, but these are the cards you've been dealt. He's not going anywhere. They're not going anywhere. He's not selling the team.
Well, and this causes me to question, like, what could Ben possibly do? Like, if he finally decides, like, you know what, this is it. If I don't get something done now, I'm out anyway. So I might as well go big or go home. Whether or not he does that, like, what would he be able to, like, is it even possible for him to salvage and repair his reputation inside the organization with a group of players that pretty clearly have no confidence in him to surround them with the improved talent that they need to improve the outcome of a season?
Yeah, I'm not sure that that's going to be I'm not sure there's much he can do. I mean, he's going to do his big trade. I'm sure he's going to try, and we'll see what comes of that. And if I'm a player, maybe Keller, or I guess he's a bad example because he'll be traded, but like maybe Henry Davis is playing Fortnite somewhere on a live Twitch stream, and he sees the Keller trade happen. He goes, "We got a bunch of slapdick prospects here," because and he's demoralized further. So
well, and they told us that's what they're going to get. It's going to be unproven guys. It's not going to be major leaguers. It's going to be the thing that nobody wants to see, and that's what makes me think that there's almost nothing that they can do at this point. So when you talk about they don't want to tear down, too bad. And we talked about this back at the beginning of the season, how there's not a core here and how they should have fired Sherrington a year ago. And so in all of Bob's efforts to find stability and avoid doing more harm than good, he winds up doing more harm than good. Like,
yeah, it's a double-edged sword. I mean, the reason why the Rays and the Guardians have so much stability is because they win, and the winning breeds the stability, not the opposite way. The stability does not breed the winning.
Like, I understand why they don't want to tear down with Paul Skeens in hand. They have, like I said last week, they're not going to have him 2 years from now. So, like, I mean, sure, go ahead. Don't tear down because you have Paul Skeens. But unless you have a way to double your payroll and go out and get actually good free agents that cost $30 and $40 million each per year, then you're going to just have more of the same, and the players are going to have more of the same, we we could be good if we had more good players. It's all over this article that they look around the room and they think this ain't it.
I mean, we all know it ain't it. So, I mean, but at this point, I'm kind of like, now that I've marinated in this a bit, I've accepted Ben Cherington as my Lord and Savior. I'm ready to die in the Ben Cherington cult. Please don't send like the Pirates ice after me to throw me in a gulag because I've shit on Ben Cherington. I'm ready for it. Like, let's see what he can do. Let's go, Ben. Give me your best shot. The players are going to have to get over it, and they're going to have to figure it out themselves. I don't know what the answer to that looks like, but they've said their piece in the media. Nothing changed. They have to work here. They get paid lots of money to do this job. Go out there and hit, my dudes.
One of the players who did speak on the record in this piece, not in this section, but later on, it was a quote that had appeared already, but Andrew McCutchen said, "I feel like we're beating the same drum. Third year back kind of feels the same just from an instance of where we are. It does kind of feel the same. And from that, in that instance, just looking at where we have improved or where do we need to get better, and kind of feels the same answers that you have internally. Yeah, it just leads me to think, like, what's the plan moving forward? And what is it going to look like next season? Like, he's clearly questioning whether or not he should come back if nothing significant changes. And now nothing significant has changed. And there was a minor social media hubbub this week when Jason Mackey, who is returning to the Pirates beat as Noah Hiles switches into the columnist role, Mackey went on the Pony and Mueller show and opined that he thought that the Andrew McCutchen retirement tour was ending. And Pony decided to quote tweet that with a little bit more certainty and not framing it as an opinion, making it, this happens constantly with these guys, is guys who are ostensibly reporters will have an opinion and they'll put it out there in their piece, and it is amongst reporting, but it's a little bit of opinioning, and then people start to take the opinion as reporting. And it's call it a lack of media literacy, but it happens constantly, and it happened here.
It's just a blurring of like entertainment and journalism.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter. Sports doesn't matter. So Pony tweets out that the retirement tour is over, and then NS9 picks that up and makes a graphic out of it and tweets that, and then McCutchen reacts to that with LOL. And no one's quite sure what he was LOLing. If it was a characterization that the Pirates can't afford a DH, which is how Mackey framed it when he was on the radio, or is it McCutchen's laughing at this whole situation because he is so gone? No one's quite sure.
It's all the above.
Yeah, but you and I, we've talked about Kutch and the way that he's been talking about this GM pretty directly looks to us, at least, like there's no shot that he comes back. Not with this leadership being retained.
I don't see it, but I could be wrong. I'm wrong about lots of things. I'm right about a lot of things. I'm wrong about a lot of things. So are you.
Yeah, I mean, it's not impossible. It could just be that Maria says, no, if you want to play, you got to play here.
It's possible. That's also possible.
Yeah.
It's also possible that he, it's the end of the season. Everybody's hot and bothered. Everybody's got opinions. And then come March, April, you have a different opinion. We've seen that before with these guys where they're, rested and up and, they want to play. And he says, whatever.
I do wonder though, like what would it take for Kutch? Like what move would Kutch want to see to feel good about coming back?
I don't think there is a move. To me, the payroll talk is somebody who's not, that's not Kutch talking.
No, I don't think so.
We mentioned that earlier. I had thoughts about it. My thoughts are that's a player who's out of this ecosystem, who's coming here and projecting a bigger market onto this ecosystem. So that strikes me as like Horowitz, maybe because he came from Toronto, or Pham, who's been around the block. He's been on like 15 teams or whatever, or IKF, or somebody like that. I can't think of who else was on this team.
It's somebody who's accustomed to bigger, better things, and they're suddenly here and looking around and thinking, this is different.
Yeah, so it's not right. It's not somebody. So I don't think. I mean, Kutch was on teams where Lastings Millage played in the outfield with him.
And Kutch chose to come back. I mean, he characterized wanting to come back. He said he saw the beginnings of what could be a good team, and I think that's being kind. I think if you're looking at the 2023 Pirates, you've got to squint awful hard to see the beginning of a good team. I think
Kutch is a fan like we are, because he's simply he's thinking the same thing we were hoping for, which was like, are we in 2012? Are we going to get our 2013 next year? He clearly thought the same thing.
That's definitely what we wanted. Like we, the family, the royal we fans.
And he's pretty much saying that when he makes that comment, in my mind. So, I mean, do I think he's coming back? I don't think so. I honestly don't think look, if you are going to embrace this team, I'm talking like Cherington, Williams, Nutting, the whole organization, and like try to open the window up. I mean, at some point you have to jettison Andrew McCutchen. He's taking up at bats from somebody. Now, I'm not saying Alexander Canario is good, but he's taking away at bats from him. He's taking away a DH appearance from Davis or Flores, or
getting Reynolds off his feet in the outfield, keeping him fresher.
Correct. Like all of these things, McCutchen takes away from that. He's not getting what he wants out of this bargain, and we're not really. I mean, I want McCutchen to chase some stats and get into the Hall of Fame as a Pirate. That's it at this point. I'm sure that's what he wants. He's not getting that here because he's not playing. That's why he's mad he's not playing. He wants to play so he can hit. So
I wonder if he'll find that anywhere else. Like, is there another, like, and maybe that's what he's going to do. Maybe he'll go and look and talk to some other teams and feel it out and weigh whether or not it's worth playing somewhere else, because they'll give him 500 at bats, and the Pirates are saying, you know what, at this point, let's maybe keep it to 300. I don't know.
Maybe Cleveland, maybe Tampa, maybe something like that.
We'll see. I want him to get those counting stats. I want him to find a way in. I want one more Pirate hat in Cooperstown, maybe. There was another article today on DK Pittsburgh Sports talking about why they kept Ben Cherington. This is the Friday Insider segment that they do on that website. And there were some interesting nuggets in there about where the sourcing.
This thing is a gold mine. Are you kidding me?
Where the sourcing for the earlier presumption that Ben Cherington was doomed at this job. And among the bullet points in here are, let me find it. It's essentially that there's a minority owner.
I have it up right now.
Okay, go ahead.
He basically talks about how he has a minority owner as a source who did not want to go on record, and that the folks in that orbit of the part of the franchise's orbit, in no particular order, I'm quoting, in no particular order, and limiting these to people of actual authority, they had to say, quote, Cherington's early trades. Well, this is DK's words. Cherington's early trades of veteran players for prospects were terrible. No shit.
Correct.
Cherington's drafts have lacked depth. The obvious hits were recognized: Jared Jones, Bubba Chandler, and Connor Griffin, but the misses were plain. And they mentioned Henry Davis, as well as lack of a substance in later rounds. that the minority owners had and have no use for Charrington, that they did not want to hear what he had to say in the sessions that he had with the minority owners. They couldn't stand how he talked. They couldn't stand how he came across as condescending, and they could not stand how he would never admit any fault in all of the failure happening under his watch. DK says he went on to he heard from one of the minority owners this week. And so it seems as though that's who he was talking to. It's probably where he got the information about the finances from as well in our first episode that brought us together.
Crab, are you a minority owner? This sounds an awful lot like you.
I mean, I might as well be. My emotional currency in this team is, I put a lot in.
I am neither a minority nor an owner.
Yeah, right. But so it stands to reason that the minority, I mean, if I was an opinion columnist or a reporter, whether it's DK or Hiles or Colin Beasley or Jason Mackey, it's irrelevant. Someone in that world, if I was talking to one of the minority owners, I would think, Jesus, this is a pretty good source. He's as close as I can get to some of these shenanigans going on in there. I'm going to report some of this is facts. Some of this will inform my opinions. I get it. I get all of that. So it's clear that they thought he was getting fired based on the fact that the minority owners hate him. The problem is Bob Nutting is the majority owner, and Bob hates change, and Bob wants to stay the course. And so we're stuck in hell, Pirates hell.
We are stuck.
What are your thoughts on this article?
I agree that it makes sense that this is why we kept hearing from particularly DK that he thought that Charrington was doomed, because he was hearing it from a corner of the Pirates that was very steadfast in that opinion, and maybe didn't really speak for the chairman so much. I mean, all of these things that we're talking about here, like, there's very clearly an understanding around the organization that they are dysfunctional and flawed and have poor leadership, and everybody's just kind of shrugging and saying, and I don't expect them to have anything to do, like, what are they going to do? But it's like, that's the loser energy, right? Is that everybody understands that it's going to stay the same. We don't have any magic bullet to fix it. The money's not there. And for what, like, if you want to, like, imagine that Bob is just filling the Scrooge McDuck money bin, whatever, he's not, like, the money's not there for whatever reason. So they're stuck. They're just stuck, and they've been stuck, and they're going to continue to be stuck.
Yeah. Hearing this stuff about Charrington and his relationship with minority owners, and how, just living through this time with him as general manager. I said this in last episode, and I'm thinking about it in my mind again. I still can't shake in my head. I think Ben Charrington came here and he wasn't planning to build a winning baseball team. I think he was more interested in building up the infrastructure inside of this organization. I think that's what he thought his job was going to be. And I don't have any proof of that. I don't know if there's been any reporting on that. I don't know. It's just, I just Googled some of the quotes from 2019 of Ben Charrington, and he emphasized, for him, the reason why he wanted to take this job is because, he saw a place where he could create excellence in scouting and development and infrastructure and things of that nature. At the time, he was impressed with some of the stuff that was already built, and he thought he could build on top, and that he wanted to build things and he didn't want to rebuild things. And I'm paraphrasing some of those talking points, because I don't want to rehash history, ancient history at this point, but maybe it's clear to me that at this point that like Ben Charrington came here, thought he was just going to build things, hire research and development analysts, you know,
the baseball would just take care of itself.
Maybe. Yeah. Strange. I mean, do I think that's okay as a fan? No. But if I take my mind out of this world and put it in his world and put it in that, like, yeah, maybe I can see that in a weird way. Like if he's hired, say, Bob and Travis, like, make us the Rays. And he's like, I don't think you guys understand what it's like to be the Rays down there. They got a lot of fucking infrastructure. He's like, well, we want that. Okay. Well, that's what I can work on. And like, all of a sudden now there's this screeching pivot to like, you know, record stop. It's me, Ben. You probably wonder how I got here. It's, you know, the freeze frame.
Yeah.
You know, as he's talking to the kids.
Here's how I got into this mess.
Yeah. And now he's like, I got to build a winning baseball team. I mean, this is like maybe that's why the players are feeling so frustrated and they're lashing out, and why we're so frustrated in this as a fans. I mean, maybe his mandate was never to do what, you know, normal. Maybe that's why columnists in the Post-Gazette and at DK's website and the Trib, they all say that, you know, baseball's not important to this franchise. Maybe that's why. Maybe it's because they're not interested in baseball and now they have to be. Does that make sense?
Kind of, yeah. Like, I never really bought the whole nobody cares about winning and like there's a truth to that when you go to the very top, that they're not making it the most important thing. They're clearly making it a secondary or tertiary concern after just being sustainable or like economically or
paying down debt,
whatever, like stuff that isn't making a good baseball team on the field at, you know, stopping at no expense within, you know, reasonable parameters, because they don't do that. And so I don't think that the players don't care about winning. I don't think that the coaching staff doesn't care about winning. They clearly do,
because they're yelling in the media about it.
Yeah. At Charrington, yeah, I don't know. Is he just just running a con where you just see how long I can stay employed?
Maybe it's not a con. Maybe he just thought he was building a startup, not, you know, and he was going to metaphorically sell it at some point. I mean, you know, if you just take all the evidence in totality and add it up for the court and try to prove a case in court, if we're doing trial of Ben Charrington Part 2, I mean, that's what it feels like at this point, that he wasn't here to win. He won a World Series. He was here to build the Pirates into something sustainable so that, you know, they could have waves of players come through and then have to have these peak builds and rebuilds and so on and so forth. And that was going to take much more of an investment in the other aspects of the team that are not sexy and not fun, and the ones we make fun of all the time. And now, you know, it's come to a head where, like, even Bob gives a shit about or does he give a shit? I don't know, but he says he gives a shit about the results in the field. And if you fucked up that bad, then Bob Nutting is like, whoa, we got to win. Then you really,
I think if the goal was to build this engine that can just sustainably produce young, cheap, pre-arb talent that you just cycle through the way the Rays do, that's not something that you do in a matter of 5 years. So
it takes winning. You have to win first. The Rays started that because they got to the World Series in 2008 and it was a miracle. And then people looked and said, what the fuck are they doing down there? Then if you were a bounce back guy at the end of his career by 2010, 2011, I'll take a chance down there for $10 million. It
takes 7 or 8 years for that engine to really get going. And so if you, and on top of that, he didn't even start really building it until 2020, after 2022. He was here for 3 years with the same leftovers from the last GM at the upper levels of the organization, the same Joe Delicari running the draft for the 12th year in 2022. We're going, I mean, this goes back to those early episodes that, like, we're going to say the same stuff again.
is this one of these things where we've like horseshoed, like we're so right wing we've gone left wing, or vice versa, or are we in like the 7 stages of grievance, and we're like, anger? What was last episode? Anger. Now we're in bargaining, accepting, and then
a little of both. Because I mean, I've had those sort of like oppositional thoughts before. Like on the one hand, like, and I think we've had this argument before where I do believe that the COVID pandemic was uniquely damaging to Cherington starting with the Pirates. Just the timing of it couldn't have been worse. He gets hired and then COVID. Yes, COVID was there for every other team, but no other teams were like giving a new GM a mandate to get started. And so right there is a year and a half of not getting to assess minor leaguers, not getting to do a lot of normal things. And on top of that, the financial pressures that put on the organization may or may not have caused a major delay in what he was able to do in terms of building all that infrastructure you were talking about. So yes, I do think there is like some valid excuses, but at the same time, nobody's prepared to wait 7 years to be any good. And if you're going to do the big teardown that you did back then, you've got to get something out of it. And he hasn't. He didn't. He's completely ineffective. Those trades were all failures back in 2020 and 21 and some of 22. Like those early trades were all failures. We have gotten to the end of them at this point, and we can now assess them as failures. There's no more waiting to see. They're all failures.
Well, Hudson Head isn't here. Eddie Yeen isn't here, so maybe
And some of the and he's we're so far down the line that he acquired, built value out of, and then traded David Bednar.
Right, Flores is like on that trade tree.
Yes, yes. And that trade tree goes back to Garrett Cole. The trades are so old
they have kids. They're kids. They're having kids.
So like this is not at all to say that Ben Cherington should be given any more grace. Like absolutely not. He should still be dismissed. It's not too late to make the right decision, even though it would be a little bit embarrassing to have this whole press conference and to do this whole song and dance, this whole dog and pony show and say, hey, they're back. We're gonna try and stabilize things and bring them back. Bob, it's not too late. You can still fire these boobs and go and find probably anybody else. Give them this wealth of pitching. Give them this infrastructure that Ben built up, what such as it is. It's probably better than it was when he found it.
We didn't even talk about that hitting article that came out that said about, how
do you want to get into that?
Yeah, let's finish it up right now. Let's make that the last thing.
Knock it out. Okay, so I think what you're talking about is this other bullet point in DK's dump.
Yeah, basically how we've talked about how there is like all this reporting about Andy Haynes and Matt Haig and how they're going through like this is like a football team that goes through offensive coordinators because they can't find one that sticks. How Cherington had a Red Sox team that was, quote, loaded with natural patience and power at the plate, and the Pirates don't have those traits. And how there's like this hitting wide, or I'm sorry, this
an organizational philosophy, an organizational approach to hitting that doesn't suit the roster. Like that's the implication in this bit of the article is that, and DK has hammered this point for a while.
Well, some of the other writers too. Yeah. This is like a thing that's been talked about the entire time that we've been struggling. The idea that there's an organizational philosophy prioritizing on base percentage and looking for walks, and it's almost like an early Moneyball approach to trying it
to
is. That's
crack
like the scene
nut.
Where he's like telling. It's like the scene where Billy Beane is telling Art Howe to play Hatterberg, and he won't play Hatterberg, so he trades Pena. It's the same. It's the same mentality.
So the thinking is that from the GM down, and this would include the way that they direct their analytics staff to prepare, I don't know, game plans or scouting reports or whatever, that it's all centered around the idea of let's get on base, let's take a bunch of pitches, let's see a bunch of pitches, let's shrink our zone, all of those things that you hear, and that this doesn't suit the Pirates roster because they lack the power, and they would be better if they were more aggressive and swung earlier. Basically, if they were all Nick Gonzalez. Now, the problem that I have...
Or O'Neill Cruz.
Early O'Neill Cruz.
Well, that's what ostensibly that's what you want him to be doing, and he doesn't do because he's up there doing their dumb game plans.
Or he's caught in between, like he's
right, which is what happened to fucking Jack Sawinski.
So there's probably something to this, but the thing that I have always questioned about this is like, why is that so hard for the players to escape? Now, I can understand if it's guys who are like right on the bubble of the roster, and if they don't do as they're told, they'll get optioned. So I understand them. I don't understand the guys who should be secure, including Cruz. Cruz isn't getting optioned, partly because he's out of them, but also because like he's ostensibly their most, in terms of raw tools, their most talented player on the roster. Like, why are they letting themselves get led down that garden path of having a bad approach? Why don't they take more autonomy, more agency in the way that they go about their business at the plate? Is that unfair to ask?
No, open rebellion. I'm with, if I was playing on this team, I would be just doing whatever the fuck I wanted to do. But I guess that answers the question. Like, you have to work with these people, and you have to like see these fucking coaches every day.
And DK writes here, so the players and staff were for real just working around whatever came from Cherington and his analytics army, and they had zero problem telling me this, open defiance. It's like, okay, so they did start doing that, but that also did not work. So I don't know.
Because they're not good because they can't hit, and Cherington knows they can't hit. Now I'm not defending Cherington, but this is like a circular logic thing. It's like Cherington knows they can't hit. So in order to try to squeeze every piece you can out of this roster, this is what we came up with to put you guys in the best position to take walks and like occasionally hit some doubles and hope for the best. Mm-hmm. Because we know you can't hit. And then they don't do it because they're frustrated with that approach, and then they can't hit. And then Cherington comes up with the same thing again. It's like a never-ending cycle. I get it. I get exactly why they do it. So I mean, but again, this all goes back to the fact that this roster is built poorly, and there's no escaping it now. OG, welcome to the 2026 Pittsburgh Pirates.
Oh boy, here we go. Light up the stove. It's going to be a long winter.
It's going to be a long winter, yeah. Okay. Anything else?
That's probably the show for this episode. I don't think I have anything else to talk about. We learned what loser energy really is.
You had a crash course. Do you believe in it now?
I think I believe in it now that I understand it. I don't believe in it as a thing that like dictates outcomes, but it definitely is a cloud that hangs over the clubhouse and sucks the energy out.
Yeah, that's Cleveland Browns football energy. Myles Garrett and all, big quarterback acquisitions and new coaches, and proclaiming that, Charlie Fry was going to be the next guy to compete with, 20 years ago, he's going to be Roethlisberger's equal, or, this is what the Browns fans deal with. This is what Raiders fans deal with.
And if this owner is going to just continue to try again with the same failed employees, he's going to continue to get the same failed seasons. Like, I just don't see how running it back with all the same people plus, like last year it was all the same people plus Tommy Pham. This year it'll be all the same people plus, blank. Whoever it winds up being in left field, whoever it winds up being at third. We already know that it's not going to be an impact roster transforming player. It's going to be a guy.
So it's not going to be Pete Alonso, is what you're saying?
It's not going to be Kyle Tucker. It's not going to be Bo Bichette.
Oh,
it's not
really?
even going to be Trent Grisham.
I've heard
his name
on
floated
the fan.
as like,
yeah, they were on the fan saying that already.
Like Trent Grisham, who has had like a career year with the New York Yankees and is lined up to be like a playoff hero here at some point. Yeah, he's totally not going to get a contract that's going to blow your ears back in Pittsburgh.
Are you telling me he's not going to take his talents to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania?
I don't think he's gonna take the 1 year $12 million offer. I think he's probably going to take the 8 year $190 million offer that he actually gets. He's only 28. He's young.
It's not going to be Luis Robert, Yohan Moncada.
You know what? You bring that up on purpose, right? Because you and I and Zach in the Discord were chatting about this earlier today, like in the morning, I think. And I don't hate those ideas, but I also I could see even getting outbid for those guys. And those guys are a very risky bet. They get both of them get injured constantly. Moncada, you could probably get Moncada. Yeah. And every other month he might play for you.
Right. He's incredibly lazy and
he gets injured a lot. He's just a guy who's always injured.
Yeah, he's like a player who just is he's injured and he's just O'Neal Cruz-y in that way sometimes. You can see when the plate he's
and with Robert, I have a concern. Like Robert, I think about Robert the way I think about O'Neal Cruz. Now, Robert has posted some seasons that are impressive and Cruz really hasn't. But both of them seem to have this, like when everything's going great, they're in it. They run on vibes. And so Luis Robert, if the Dodgers take a chance on him, he might do really, really well. And
Luis Robert this year had 14 home runs, a 364 slug, 297 on base. He was 84 weighted runs created plus, and he was a 1.3 wins above replacement in 110 games, 431 plate appearances.
Yeah,
I would take that production. You got to go back
a couple of years. That's sort of like in the middle or in the upper middle of what the Pirates got out of
his age 22 season when he was 23. Or no, I'm sorry, his age 23 season in 2021 was a WRC plus of 155.
Yeah, he's had 2 really monster years, and then the last 2 years have been rather bad.
And 2023 was a good year. It was a 129 WRC plus.
Yeah. And he's been playing for a terrible White Sox team, which would suck the motivation out of a player that runs on vibes, the same way that O'Neal Cruz has not proven that he can do what Luis Robert Jr. has proven that he could do a couple of times, but I can imagine the vibes mattering. You can kind of read it on Cruz's face a little bit. Like he runs on, like the loser energy really gets to Cruz. Like he gets hurt by that. And
yeah,
so you go out and you get Luis Robert Jr. and you think you're getting this 6-win player from 2023, and he shows up to Pittsburgh and the loser energy washes over him, and you get what he did last year or this year, and it's below average and not to potential, not what you thought you were signing up for. Yeah, so that would be a very. The problem is, like, if
Moncada this year was good at the plate. He did a WRC plus of 117.
Oh yeah, In how many games?
He had a pretty good year this year.
How many games?
84 games. So he didn't play those.
He literally played every other month. You can look at his injury log. He played every other month.
I mean, the last time he played like a decent chunk was in 2021, and before that, 2019 and 2018. So
yeah, the reason that he's not getting
he's always hurt
more money, he's always hurt. Worse than Hayes.
Yeah.
When Hayes was his most injured, he was on the field more than Yohan Moncada.
Pass.
Yeah.
I mean, we might get him, but pass.
And that's the thing. Like, if you want a sure thing, we can't afford it. So whatever we get, and Charrington was dead on right about this. This is the one thing he was being truthful about in that press conference the other day, is they have to take risks on unproven things because they can't afford sure things. They just can't.
Well said.
Good place to end.
Good place to end.
Well, thanks everybody for watching and or listening. Please like and
to
subscribe.
The Pirates
and
Depression Hour.
Yeah. Or don't.
That's
or
my
do.
line.
Yeah, well, I was waiting for you to deliver it.
Well, I don't care. You can have it. You can say the fun words.
I already said it. All right, everybody. We will come back with another show when we feel like it.
Bye.
Bye-bye.